Mike, I do want to say, like, before we let you go, you spoke so eloquently about like your why. And I know I admire um you being able to speak about your truth. I know probably Becca does too.
Hmm.
But it's so different seeing a man feel so confident and strong and talking about being a virgin and like not being ashamed of
Mm,
it.
yeah,
And I think that that's something that could help a lot of people. I'm sure you've received a lot of DMs of people
yeah.
feeling very, empowered by what you said and
Mhm.
how confident you were. What advice would you have to, I want to say people, but also like especially males
Mhm.
that are virgins and yeah.
It's funny you talked about, people reaching out. That has been the overall message that people have been coming across with to me is I'm a big believer that like God put you in positions for certain reasons, right? And I think I
Yeah.
was somebody that needed to meet an incredible woman to show me a lot about myself, right? And for me, maybe just my story was something where people could understand, like, you know, why am I doing this? And I think the why is a huge thing. For anything to be sustainable, you have to understand your why. If you don't understand the why to it, then you'll fall off on it.
Yeah.
But if you're convicted by the why and you have an understanding of the why, I think it makes it so much easier to then be able to sustain that, right? And I think I'll speak to two different parts of this. I think with the message I've heard from women is I didn't know guys like you exist. And in my mind, I'm like, I am so flawed that I'm like, no, no, no. Like, do not put me on a pedestal. Like, I am somebody that is extremely flawed. I just am convicted in what I want this gift to be to my wife. And I am not just a virgin. Like, I am somebody that, like, I have so much more to offer. I don't want it
Right.
to be put in a box, right? Like,
Hmm.
I want it to, like, I want to be a listener. I want to be somebody that, you know, can do so many things for her, right? And I want women to understand that um, there are a lot of men who do feel this way, and there are a lot of men that want to make their woman feel safe and secure, and they want them to feel honored, right? And that comes in so many different forms. It's not just sex. Sometimes that's even just in conversation or just being able to communicate how you feel. That can
Yeah.
make a woman feel honored. But I will say this is like it breaks my heart hearing that sometimes too, because as men, we need to step up and be better. We're obviously falling short in areas, myself included as well, is we're falling short in areas where women aren't feeling love. They're not feeling secure. They're not feeling honored. And I think we have to internally look into ourselves and be like, why are they feeling that way? And we have to be vulnerable and be able to communicate that to them so that we can receive the feedback and then make a change. Now,
Yeah.
to men, I think I think this is something that if you want to be, because leadership comes in so many different ways. Like my sisters are leaders, my mom's a leader. Like just because you're a man doesn't mean that you're the only leader. That's not how it works. But I do believe that like everyone should always try to be the leader, the best leader they can be. So for men, I can only speak to men because I'm a guy. Is like if you truly are convicted in something like this, and for me, it's like I'm convicted because I told Katie this and she started laughing. Is I am a I believe wholeheartedly God grabs the most rotten ones the earliest. I was one of his most rotten ones when I was born, where he was like, you do not get to experience a lot of these things because you're going to get in trouble. And I think that was something where knowing that about myself, it was almost like a layer of protection where it was like, no, you don't get to do this. You have to honor her and you have to show her that there's so much more that you see in her, right? And there's so much more that you want for her. You want to elevate her. This is not about one of the things I hear from women all the time is how selfish men are. We are. So we need to make a change with that. And what's a way to do that? For me, that's a way to, one of the biggest desires of my heart is obviously to have sex, with my wife. It's like, okay, well, then you need to put in work before you're granted that gift, right? So it's like that's how I view it. And if you're a man and that's something that you're struggling with or you're feeling insecure about, own it.
Yeah.
Like you're doing it for a reason. Like you are somebody that is You're somebody that you're convicted by it for a reason. So find out what that reason is, understand it, and then, verbalize it, to your future spouse or your girlfriend or whatever, of like, this is why I'm convicted by this. This is something that I want you to feel so safe and so secure that you then, what is more secure than you looking a woman in the eyes and saying, I want nobody else for the rest of my life. You are all I want. And I mean, at that point, if my wife says that to me, my clothes are coming off and I'm like, let's go. Because it's like, there's such a beauty to that. There's such a beauty to committing your life to somebody for the rest of your life and saying to them, I don't see anything else. You are what I want.